Welcome all to the Q with Q. I am super excited to have this conversation and I welcome you all back to it. I am talking to Miss Sabrina Lewis, who is Miss Black Texas. Okay, Miss Black Texas. We have some things to talk about. As you can see, if you're listening to it on the podcast, you can't see it, but if you're watching on YouTube, I'm rocking my Make Black Count shirt. She's rocking her Miss Black Texas slash Miss Black USA sash. Baby, we're black on black and we're going to be talking about it. Miss Sabrina Lewis, thank you so much for talking to me. Say hi to the people.
Hello, everyone. I'm super honored to be here today. We're trying to keep this black on black movement 100% positive and, you know, just positive vibes, really. Blackout is the best thing there is right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We want to show people that being black is okay and that we can still interact with people who are not black as well. It's all about being one with one another, right? So,
Yeah.
could you just introduce yourself to us? Kind of let us know who you are, why you chose to run for Miss Black Texas, and what that actually looks like, what all that entails.
So I'm Sabrina. I am a Houston resident, but I am a Wichita Falls native. So, hey to Wichita Falls. Um, I am, of course, your Miss Black Texas USA 2020. I graduated from Lamar University. I
Mhm.
am a United States Navy reservist.
Oh,
I am the founder of my own nonprofit called RTR. I am this I am is these affirmations. Y'all know how many mornings I got up and said these affirmations? Ooh, to know that they real, that energy, it just almost got out my seat.
it
Okay.
got a little chill on
Like,
your
wait, I
spine, huh?
never
Little
said this at
chill.
4 a.m.
Yes.
And now I am.
Okay.
Okay. Whew, that felt good.
Take a moment, breathe in, breathe
Right?
out. All right, cool. Go
It's,
ahead. The floor is still yours.
uh, a little bit about me is that I found out that I had a love for numbers. Um, I don't want to say late in life, but just in time in life. And then I realized not only did I have a love for numbers, I've always had a love for people and helping people have the same information that I have. I'm that one friend that's always like, did you know? Did you know? Did you know? And now I get to do that, and it's my job. It's my day-to-day in and out type of thing, helping people understand budgeting, financial literacy, and as a whole. I just did a 2-day seminar in my hometown with the residents of at a domestic violence shelter, and
Oh
these women
wow.
were hugging me. I guess I guess we said whatever COVID-19. I do not authorize
Oh,
hugging and coughing on nobody. But these women were very, very happy. There was also men, of course, for this information, and I've come to the realization it's not that people don't want to do right when it comes to their money and finances. It's that they don't know
yeah.
how and they think it's hard. It's kind of like learning something in a math class. It's hard until the process has been explained to you and broken down and there's patience.
Mm.
So that's pretty much me. Why did I decide Miss Black Texas USA? I was on Google thinking about
Doggone Google. Okay, talk to us.
y'all, I'm not no happy, inspiring extra story. I'm just Sabrina. I was I was on Google and I was looking. I do a lot of writing, several journals, and I had been writing about something I wanted to give to the world in regards to community economics to close the wealth gap for African Americans. Um, and so I decided to look up to see if any other nonprofit out there was doing what I wanted to do.
Mm.
And the Miss Black USA pageantry system is a nonprofit, and I had to run across it. So um, I just opened it up, and I was like, I'm probably too old for this. Like, I know I look really young. I know I don't look like I deserve a drink, but I'm a little too old for this, but I filled out the application anyway. I got a call and I went through, 2 to 3 more interview processes, or 2 or 3 more interviews. And they were like, you're the perfect candidate. You are what we're looking for. Um, would you accept the title? And I was like, yeah, I accept your title. Everything
Oh,
went
accept the title of Miss Black
Miss Black
Texas.
Texas USA.
Got it.
They were, they had my resume and all this other stuff, and I was just, I don't want to say I was just doing it to do it, but I was really
Yeah.
out looking to make sure that if I needed to add to what somebody else had going on, or if I could create my own nonprofit, because I don't really like divisiveness. I like unity. So I don't necessarily believe in starting your own something when somebody else is doing the exact same thing. But I came across this, and I told her this is what I was trying to do, and I had my interviews, and they asked me a lot of questions, and they said, "You're Miss Black Texas material. We want you." We, talked
Yeah.
about.
And that's how it was. So there's several things that I kind of want to pull out of there. One, so you did the Miss Black Texas because you were looking to start your own nonprofit. That's how you got here. You were in search to start your own profit, and you came, yeah, and you came across this pageantry system and thought, hey, this might be a great jumping board, right? If I'm able to do this, this could potentially propel me into that thing that I want to do. And so you go and you have these interviews and you're crowned Miss Black Texas. Now, first off, kudos to you for searching out, trying to find out, what it is you want to do, and definitely using opportunities to build upon themselves, right? So that's totally dope. But I guess my mind is blown. I don't want to spend too much time on figuring out how the whole pageant world works. But you said, in my mind, I'm like, oh, pageant Miss Black Texas, like, oh, y'all like on the stage, y'all had to do the bikini thing, what do you want, world peace, all of that. But what it sounds like is this was something different.
Yes, because
Yeah.
COVID, it was different. It was different in the sense that they couldn't get all the women together. And
Okay.
I don't want it to be like, oh, I applied to Miss Black Texas because I wanted a platform for my nonprofit. I was looking to see if there were
Right.
out there who were doing what I had envisioned for the Black community to help and
Right.
forward. And this particular nonprofit popped up, and I'm
Yeah.
like, let me just click on this button. I got a call,
Right.
and I
Right.
so happened to do a photo shoot not too long before that, and they said, hey, can you send us your picture? And she calls me, and then I get another call, and this lasts for about a month or two, and they're like, we want you. So I was like,
perfect. Okay, yeah, absolutely. I mean, congrats. Let's definitely clean that up. Sis was already doing the work, looking for her own self, and this came about. But we're still going to congratulate you that that you won, and that it is going to help you as you further on. I'm a huge advocate and proponent of give and take, right? In everything that we do, well, majority of everything that we do. If you're giving to something, what can you also get out of it? And that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's not an opportunistic thing. That is taking the opportunity, right? And creating this thing that you want. So I'm gonna applaud you from that, because that's how I look at it. So you said you're really interested in finance and helping the Black community. Is that what your platform is based upon in Miss Black Texas? Like, is it centered around finances?
It's centered around financial literacy, yes.
Financial literacy, okay.
Spreading knowledge of financial literacy within our community.
Okay.
So it's me going out, doing these workshops, doing my Money Tip Mondays. I actually just got invited to by Homegirls Podcast. I got a call from my publicist, and she tells me, Homegirl Podcast wants you to be their official financial advisor. I said, wait, what? So I was like,
do what now?
And like, yes. And, she sends my bio and everything over, and we have a call, and it's like, it's really surreal, especially during COVID, to be advancing in anything. It's just beautiful.
Absolutely.
But yes, I'm big on financial literacy and educating people on the system that they're in, because a lot of people are living in a system and do not know how that system works. I had an older woman watching my Money Tip Monday. She gets my number from my mom. Mama, you can't
First off, Mama, you can't just get my number out.
I didn't know that I was only supposed to spend 30% or less on my credit cards. She's like, I pay my credit card bills every month, as if I was a creditor. She was like, I pay my credit card bills every month, but I didn't know that was the case. And she was like, thank you so much. She's like, I just didn't, she's like, I was just paying it, hoping that everything would be okay. What she was doing, she was, I don't want to say maxing out, but spending about 70-80% of a credit card, then paying it off.
Yeah.
But that doesn't build your credit. It actually makes it look like you need the credit available to you to make it month to month.
To maintain.
Exactly. So,
Okay.
like, very happy. And, and the thing I tell them, multiply your balance by 0.30. And she was like, thank you so much for breaking that down. That let me know that I was doing everything that I was supposed to be doing. Like,
Yeah.
felt really good. It felt really
Yeah, you got that affirmation. You got, and I just learned something from you. What you're telling me is credit, although it's an available tool, you have to play the credit and don't let the credit play you. It's
good.
like
Yes.
chess and not checkers. Spend
Yes.
some, use it, but don't make it look like you need it. So you got to play that field. Is
Exactly.
that right?
Yes. And that's what
Okay.
credit grow,
Okay.
and they offer you, when someone offers you extended additional credit, take it, because in that case, it allows the opportunity for you to be able to use more, rather
Hmm.
than some people are afraid to take it and say, oh, I don't want any more because I can't afford to pay back $2,000 if I spend it. You shouldn't be
Yeah.
spending $2,000. You should be spending
Right.
about $600 of that $2,000 if you want it
Right.
to positively affect your credit.
Got it. Got it. Okay. We love to hear it. Baby, we love to hear it. Educate us here. Educate us. So what I'm gonna throw you for a little bit of a curveball because I know we did full disclosure, people. Two full disclosures. Sabrina and I actually went to undergrad with each other. With each other, go LU. So we go
Hell
way back. Yes, so we know each other from our college days. But also, I told you we were gonna take a break after we hit our next topic, but we're actually gonna take a quick break right now. And on
Okay.
the other side of it, we are going to talk about the world of politics and Kamala Harris obviously being chosen as Joe Biden's vice presidential pick. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see. We're already getting some reaction. We're already getting some reaction from that. So we're going to take a quick break. And on the other side of the break, we are going to just talk about what that means, what you think about that, and what that says, about the state of our country. So thank you all for tuning in. We will see you on the other side. Welcome back, guys. Again, this is the Q with Q. I don't even think I said in the intro, it's me, Quentin R. Giles, but y'all already know because you
Know
rock with me. Yeah, but I'm supposed to do my intro all correct and stuff. But it is me, Quentin R. Giles, or just Q, and I am talking with the wonderful Sabrina Lewis, who is Miss Black Texas. Thank you, Sabrina, again for being here. And we're just going to jump right back into the conversation, right? So we told the guests or we told the listeners that we were going to be talking about Kamala Harris. So let's talk about it. What are your thoughts now that Kamala Harris is going to be Joe Biden's or is Joe Biden's vice presidential pick?
Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Okay.
Sis. Congratulations, Queen. Congratulations. I know that there is controversy around her.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to say I agree or disagree with any of her. I can say that everyone does something that I disagree with.
Right.
There are some decisions that she made that maybe I would not have made, but at the same time, she made those decisions while doing her job. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't like that people come after her, and she was a prosecutor and all that.
Mm-hmm.
She was doing her job, Now, in regards to what this means, what it means to see if Biden is elected, what it means to see a Black woman in office. I don't care what her decisions were, right? I'm not saying that I'm in agreement with everything, but what I am saying is right now, there's a Black woman that needs the Black community's support. We're not at that part of the process where we're picking a VP. He has selected his VP, and it is a Black woman. And we as a community have to make a decision. Are we going to stand behind this Black woman? Because there's no replacing her. Like he's already chosen her. So you have to congratulate, and you cannot allow that extra noise. That extra noise is unnecessary. It's wrong, and it's unacceptable. Everyone can have an opinion. When she gets in office, you hold her accountable, and that's that. But the tearing her down, it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable.
Yeah, and let me say this because I just realized before the break I said two full disclosure moments, but I only gave the audience one. The second one was in reference to Kamala Harris and her ethnicity. So I did a podcast last week when he announced her, and I was like super excited that we finally knew who it was. Not necessarily that it was Kamala, and I can talk about that a little bit, but that he announced who it was, and I was saying, you know, she's a black woman, she's also Indian, she's Native American, and I need to come and clear something up. Sis is not Native American.
No.
Sis's mother is from India. So in my excitement of saying Indian, my mind automatically went to Native American. Yeah, and one of my shout out. I'm not gonna name them because I didn't get permission to name them, but shout out to one of my Instagram followers who actually pointed out that I said it, who listened to the podcast and hit me in the DMs and was like, "Hey, I'm pretty sure you were just overly excited, but you said this, but she's actually, you know, Indian from the AAPI community, not Indian Native American community." So that was one thing that I definitely wanted to clear up. And then just to push it into this black woman conversation, because I've been seeing, I saw somebody the other day. Are you familiar with who Candace Owens is?
I am familiar with who Candace Owens is.
Okay, we're not going to talk about Candace Owens that much. Let's just leave it at that. But
Okay.
somebody said, you know, well, are we going to be supporting Candace Owens too? They were saying it in a sarcastic way. Are we going to support Candace Owens too? Because she's a black woman. So are we just being selectively black? So I kind of want to talk about.
Somebody said that to you?
No, not to me. I saw it on a post.
Okay.
It wasn't to me. I don't think anybody would have said that particularly to me, but it got me to thinking. I'm like, okay, well, let's have an educated conversation about it, right? Kamala Harris, although she's been a prosecutor and have all these things in her background, we're talking people get credit for evolving, right? People get credit for who they are today. And we have to recognize that sis was in a system, right? So just like she locked up black men and women, she locked up white men and women as well, just like everybody else across the country that was doing that job. And for me, this is a false equivalence. A Biden Harris ticket is not a Trump Pence ticket, because just because Trump wasn't in a position of power, right, legislatively or in a DA's office, those policies back in the day, he still supported. He called for the death penalty of the Central Park Five, now known as the Exonerated Five, and still advocates for a lot of those policies today. So let's talk about who we are today. So I just want to clear that up when you talk about, because you mentioned, you know, the black community, we need to stand up and be behind her. And I can just hear what's a nice word to say? I can just hear a troll chomping at the bit saying, well, what about a Candace Owens? Or, well, what about all this whataboutism? So
I think that there are 2 points I have to make.
Go ahead and make your point, sis.
Catch me when I get off.
Yeah.
We all have to wake up in the morning and look in the mirror at who we are and what we've done. We all have to do that. So please understand that there are people out there who have the worst intentions for her because she was born what we qualify as a black woman.
Mm-hmm. She identifies as a black woman.
Yes,
she's black.
So there are people who have the worst intentions for her. And it is our job, whether we agree with everything that she's done or not. It kind of goes back to my mom always saying, love your brother and sisters for who they are. They're not going to be you. They're going to make their mistakes. Congratulate them when they are doing something good, so that when the time comes, you can say, hey, sis, hey, queen, hey, Miss Harris, come on, you identified as a black woman. You are a black woman. Please be aware and conscious of that as you make this decision, right? And I think that people don't want to accept the fact that she was doing her job. She was a part of a system that oppresses black men at a much higher rate than anybody else when it comes to the justice system, and how when you're a prosecutor, you're working for the city. So therefore, what they want you to do, you have to do. So congratulations, sis, for doing your job the best way that you know how. Now you're about to be in another position where you'll be able to have a little bit more freedom into how you react or how you do things. You know, it's time for you to do your job. It's just time for you to do your job. And I understand, I feel it, but that's a black woman. Are you going to protect this black woman, or are you going to tear her down because she's already his VP candidate? Like, that's who he's chosen. So are you saying I'm gonna tear her down and I'm not going to vote for her, and your other option is Trump and
Pence? I think not. Not I.
You're falling into the trap that they want you to fall into. Tear her down, put bad information out about her, so even people who were thinking about voting are just like, I'm gonna throw my hands up. I feel like I don't have anything left. In reality, you do have something. What is the alternative? You know what I mean? What is the alternative to you tearing down this black woman?
Yeah. I think that's good, but I also think I would be remiss if I didn't say, we can all have our opinions on her past. Like, I think her and Joe Biden definitely need to come out at some point and like, let's clear some stuff up. Like, let's be real. The policies and procedures that y'all pushed back in the day were wrong, because you've now come out and say, criminal justice this, and you want to change that, and that's great. And that's why I say you get credit. You definitely get credit for your evolution. That doesn't escape you from your past, but let's look at the other side. You still rocking with the past, like, so it's not the same thing. It's just not the same thing. I kind of want to. Oh, go ahead, please.
Oh, so my second point is we have to pay attention to how America lumps black. He has a different experience in America than someone who is a descendant of slavery, and you go back a little few in generations. Her mother was Indian, and shout outs to her moms who fought for women's rights. Shout out to
in the civil rights. In the civil rights era, that's where her parents
civil
met.
rights and women's rights. She was a big proponent for women's rights too. And then her father, if I'm not mistaken, was African, right?
Jamaican.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry, Miss Harris. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
No, we here. Let's go.
He's Jamaican.
But I mean, Jamaican is of African descent. So
yeah, that's an African descent. But at the same time, that's a different experience than what someone who has two parents who are descendants of slaves of America would have had. Right? That's a totally different experience. And so we have to understand that how she was viewing the world, it may have been different, but you still have to understand that they lump all blacks. They lump all blacks together. There's no distinction.
Yeah. What you're saying is, I think what we're agreeing on is that, there is context to a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
And it doesn't excuse that. That's not what we're saying. But what we're also saying is we're not going to let you take it, use it, and abuse.
And exactly.
Got you. I want to push in a little more to the tragic case of Breonna Taylor.
Arrest Breonna Taylor's murderers.
I'm sorry?
Arrest Breonna Taylor's murderers.
Oh, facts. Correct. Please, today by dinner time. Thank you. And we're what, 150 days before there's been any type of legal action. Like, we all know the story. I don't have to recount it. I'm sure we all know the story by now. What are your thoughts on that? What does that say that a black woman could be in her house, not only a first responder in this time of COVID-19, so risking her life, every day, as an EMT to help people, could be in her home, be murdered by the police, and we are 150 days out, 150 plus days out, and the only thing that's been done is one of the cops that was involved in that murder has been fired. There's been no legal prosecution. I mean, nothing. There's been no recourse. What are your thoughts on that?
The sociologist in me just wants to take y'all back to sociology class.
I mean, you do what you use that degree. Come on now, we could be two things at once. We could be a beauty queen, Miss Black Texas, and educated. Use the degree.
Pay on that little degree, that little paper.
Yeah, use that paper. Use that piece of paper. You paid for it, or somebody did. You said you in the I'm sorry. What military branch?
Navy.
The Navy. Did the Navy pay? Let me get out
your
finances.
Navy
Let me get out it.
I'm
I'm sorry. I'm that's not even. I don't even need to be asking it. That's not our business. Whatever the fact is, you're educated. It don't matter how I got paid.
No matter
Go
how
ahead.
I got it.
Please use your degree in sociology and school us and teach us something and tell us what your thoughts are.
There is a hierarchy in every system that you live in.
Mm-hmm.
In the American system, what we're seeing right now is that Breonna Taylor, as a Black woman, is considered a second-class citizen.
Mm.
And this is, and I love Black men. I love y'all. I'm gonna fight for y'all. I'm gonna march for Black men anytime something happens. But let's have an understanding that we are even considered a second-class citizen to Black men,
Mm-hmm.
because they have. It's just. I'm about to cry, but my lashes are soaking up my tears.
Dude, if you want to yank the lashes off, yank the lashes. Yank the
No,
lashes.
you don't understand. Lashes give your face shape.
Oh, okay. Well, excuse me. Go ahead, Queen. I didn't know.
It just goes to show you. Do you know that it was a poem called "Ain't I a Woman Too?" And it just goes to show how dehumanized Black women really, really are. We don't get the same respect. We don't get equal opportunity. And when I say that, what I mean is that we have to work 5 times harder to get what others are getting. And it's not to say our struggle is harder than any other, but in cases like this, where it is clear as day that people did wrong, they tampered with evidence, they gave false testimonies, this woman still cannot get her justice. You won't even arrest the man, even if you're not going to convict him. You won't take him off the streets.
Mm-hmm. The bare minimum. The probable cause bare minimum. Yeah.
I cannot even get the bare minimum. And it's been going on for so long. It's just, it's a reflection of slavery. It's so deep. It's so deep. We're the exotic other, right? People want your hips, they want your waist, they want your lips, they want all of that, but they don't want the struggle that comes along with it, and nor do they want to advocate for you on behalf of your struggle. So many people waited to come to Breonna Taylor's aid as far as speaking out on the subject, because they wanted to wait and make sure that there was nothing else that could be said about her. The woman was she was very young, very very young. She was social media active and savvy, and she made a post. If I'm not incorrect, I can't wait to see what 2020 has for me. And the girl, she was about a year younger than me, and she does not get to see this year because someone came into her home because they thought that she was weak-minded enough to allow someone to be running drugs through her home. Not because you had actual proof or anything like that. You falsified documents. People can, someone who represents the system could lie and scheme, and they won't even hold them accountable for that. And it cost her whole life. That it's really, really sickening to me. And I don't want to say anything bad about a certain someone who just came out in support of her, but it you can see how people, like, they didn't want to get involved with it. They wanted to step back and stay away from it. It's just like, why? Because, and this is not to diminish or belittle George Floyd's situation, but people were jumping on it. But this woman was a first responder. She was educated. She was at home, asleep in her bed, and was murdered. Just cold-blooded murdered. And somebody did something. I think you have to ask yourself the question, if she was and it's a statement that's been made over and over again into so many different cases, if she was a white woman laying in her bed and the police came in on a no-knock warrant at umpteenth hour of the night and she was shot to death, would this situation be the same?
Right. A question that everyone uh, needs to ask themselves. We don't have to answer it. Everyone should just ask themselves that question. So I want to know what do you think that we what does it look like for black men to come alongside black women or two-part question, black men to come alongside black women to help elevate, because what you said was even to black men, black women are a second class citizen, right? So that means that the inference is that black men must have some sphere of privilege in this microcosm, right?
Yeah.
Not white privilege, not this grand privilege, but if there is a separation and one is under the other, that means the hierarchy that black men in this situation would have some type of privilege. So I want to know, what do you think black men could do to assist in elevating our sisters up to at least our platform, whatever platform we have? And then more broadly, what do you think everybody else could do to assist as well?
What can be done? What could be done? We have to let go of the ideologies of masculinity. I don't want to say let go, because you have to stop being at war with someone. That's first, because there's this internal war between black men and black women. You know, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying that there are not black men and black women like you and I right now who are
Yeah,
about the education of our people and see no threat. You don't see any threat as me as a
yeah,
woman being successful, and I definitely don't see any threat as you as a man, a black man being successful.
yeah.
That has to be the attitude at all times. We I've had a conversation, because I was really big in protesting, because
Mm-hmm.
no matter how much financial literacy I teach, there's still the problem that racism and discrimination keep us out of rooms and keep us away from opportunities, period.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reality of it. But I had a conversation with a black man when I was after the Breonna Taylor protests, where I spoke, and he was telling me black women don't want to do this. Black women have the highest education rate when it comes to degrees. Black women, y'all are getting all these good jobs, but y'all don't want to be submissive. We have to let go of this ideology. But you know how that
I
is, don't
yeah, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at
you?
that.
Okay,
That's a whole nother conversation. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
but we have to let go of an ideology that's been pushed on us by um, the remnants of slavery, because
Mm-hmm.
we want this world, this thing that slave masters had, because they kept up a patriarchal system.
Mm-hmm.
The man was the head of the household, this and that. But that is a way to live. It is not the only way to survive and to be great.
Yeah.
It, it's not. And a woman being successful does not necessarily mean she has to be the head, and it doesn't mean she has to be the tail. You know,
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, accepting and loving one another for who we are and standing up for one another, knowing that when we do good and we do great, you
Mm-hmm.
do good and you do great. We have to, you have to take your win as my win and my win as your win, rather than it
Yeah.
being a competition of, well, if she's got more education, then she's making more money.
Mm-hmm.
Let me give you a reality check. They're making you think that, but that is not the case.
Right.
It's not the case at all.
Right.
Your skilled labor is a lot of times paying a lot more than my bachelor's of science in sociology. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just it's a constant pull for power. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that maybe just learning to accept and push and reacting with just as much, I'm not about violence in any way, but having that same spearhead of aggression that you have when you feel like your masculinity is being threatened is the same. It's the same energy you should have when a black woman is threatened, regardless of you, regardless of how you feel about,
Mm-hmm.
if you feel like she's a twerker, if you feel like she got her OnlyFans, if you feel like she got too many degrees, if you feel, and there's really someone who has a problem with a woman in any one of those things. We just got
Yeah.
to learn to love our black women. I don't know what bringing them on the platform looks like and
Yeah.
sharing that platform. I don't know what that looks like. I can't give you
Yeah.
that right now because I don't think I've ever really seen it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like you're just gonna have to defend each other
Yeah.
equally.
I want to
So
say I want to say something. We are coming up on the time. We're running up
yeah,
against the clock here. The reason I chuckled when you said submissive, I want to flesh that out because what I do think a lot of men that say that, especially if we're talking about in the Black community. Me personally, this is just my opinion. I think it stems from scriptures in the Bible, right? When it talks about the submission of a woman. And
mm-hmm.
so everybody that knows I am a follower of Christ. I love Jesus with everything, not denying it, gonna shout it from the rooftops. And what
Go
I have
ahead.
found,
You want to have
yeah,
church? You want to
you
have
said
church?
what?
You
Oh,
want to have church?
we can have church all day long, baby. Don't play with me. Uh, but I think what's so interesting, especially what I tell females, and in my conversations with some guys, I'm like, when we talk about this idea of submission, it's so interesting that men always want to talk about the scriptures when it's in relation to the woman submitting to the man, right? But they never want to push into the very next scripture after it.
Reading the
Which,
verse
okay, so we're
before and after.
right. Which it talks about, okay, wives be submissive to your husbands, and husbands love your wives like Christ loved the church. Okay, well then, for those that are not Christians or those that don't read the Bible, what then does that mean? Christ died for the church. So what the Bible is actually telling us is, as men, I'm not even on the women in submission because it's not what we think it is. Submission is not subservient,
It's not.
being under them. That is not what submission is. That's what men want, or some men want when they say that. But if the Bible instructs you to, as a man, to love your wife like Christ loved the church, that means to die for her. That means to die to yourself and your ego for your woman. So it's like, that's why I chuckle, because it's like it's such a misapplication of scripture. And
But
what you really want is a servant. That's what you're saying, and that ain't what sis is about.
but
So
you have to look at how Christianity was introduced to the African American community. It was
mhm,
introduced during slavery, and
mhm,
even during that time, their women were subservient. They were considered second class. They were
mhm,
considered less than. The beatings, the rapes. I mean, women rights were definitely a needed thing, but that's what they saw, so that's what they believe that
mhm.
that means. You know.
And so, and let's push it in. Like I said, we're gonna push up against the clock. Let's push into that as well, because that's another. Again, talking to men and women, it's like, y'all do know, like, Christianity was around prior to slavery, right? So like what the white people at that time did in the guise of Christianity is not what it's about. And so that is a totally whole, I could talk about this for 2 hours, like, I mean, on and on and on,
Another
because
episode. Sound like you got another topic for another
I
episode.
low-key do have another episode, because there is so much misunderstanding of what it was about, and then even what happened at that time. And I know a lot of people, especially Black people, are pushing away from the church and calling it a white man's religion. I'm like, technically it's not. It's just some white people used it the wrong way. But anyway, Sabrina, thank you so much for being here. Because we're gonna be here all day if I get to talking about God now. I
Right.
love me some Jesus. But I thank you so much for being here. I thank you for having this conversation. I'm loving what you're doing. I'm loving seeing your growth, and just, teaching our people about financial literacy, because that is definitely needed. It's not something that's taught in schools. It's not something that is traditionally passed down from generations, because traditionally the generations before us didn't know what to do either. So
It was
I think it's,
taboo to talk about money in the Black.
yeah. I think it's great what you're doing. I'm loving it. Is there anything you want to leave us with? The floor is yours to close us out.
One, arrest Breonna Taylor's murderers. Um,
Okay. Today, please, by dinner time.
Give Miss Harris her props and give her praise where her praise is due. Remember that there is an alternative. And if you're okay with that alternative, then by all means continue to feed into it, and you will be held accountable for your actions and your thoughts and the energy that you put out. Third, please go follow at said Sabrina on Instagram and on Facebook. Um,
Can you spell that for us?
well, I almost forgot. Okay, it's at SAYITSABRINA. That's the Facebook. And for Instagram, there is a underscore between say it Sabrina. So say underscore it underscore Sabrina. Um, Tune into my Money Tip Mondays. Start watching me next Friday for Financial Fridays, as I'm the official financial advisor for Homegirls Podcast. And
Congrats.
be on the lookout for me coming to a city near you for a budgeting and a credit seminar. The credit seminar, I'll also be handing out letters to help you send out to the debt collectors and the credit bureaus to get your credit right. So some people are out there charging for that. I'm trying to give that away for free. Also, please feel free to donate to my GoFundMe. Our goal is to raise $250,000. So $10 goes a long way. $15 helps me make a whole packet and have some gas money to get to people to give them that information.
Perfect, perfect. We're definitely going to try to include some of these links in the description fields of the podcast and of the YouTube. Thank you again, Miss Black Texas. Thank you all for listening on the podcast. Thank you for watching if you're on YouTube and other streaming services. This has been the Q with Q with me, your host, Quentin R. Giles, and I will see you next time.